So I'm putting Cooper down last night. Suzy Shuster here in for Rich Eisen on the Rich Eisen Show. I'm putting Cooper down last night. He says, Mom, can you please talk baseball? I need you to talk about Aaron Judge. Ooh. I need you to talk about what's going on. And because, Cooper's obsessed with all things baseball. And he says, Mom, maybe Michael K will call in. So I flex. I text Rich on the way. And then I start sweating. I'm like, I wonder if Michael remembers me. And then I ping Michael K from the Yes Network. And look who came through for me, guys. Hi, Michael.
This is all for Cooper.
It really is, right? It really is, right? Because basically, Lisa Salters was just on before you, another old friend. We spent more time talking about mom stuff than we did NBA. But he was like, Mom, I really need you to talk about Aaron Judge. Michael, you're in our house every day, all day, and all we hear is, see ya. And I have to ask you right off the bat, before I get into the Aaron Judge of it all, and of course we're going to go there in a second, but how many kids come up to you and say, see ya? Is that all day, every day, Michael?
It would be cute if it was just kids, but adults too. I could be in the grocery store and they'll act like, well, they don't know who I am, and that's fine. They shouldn't. And then as I'm walking away from the register, they'll go, see ya. Ugh. And, you have to act like, wow, that's really original. But it's actually unbelievably flattering that people would actually put that into their daily vocabulary. And I got it from an ex-girlfriend. That's what she used to say when she got out of the car at the end of the date. Wouldn't want to be you.
Do you want to say who it was? I mean, should we out her here, Michael?
Ooh. Well, if I say who she is, then she'll probably want some kind of cut. So let's just keep it secret, Suzy.
Your secret is safe with me and the Roku channel. So I just want to let you know that's how I roll here. Michael, I have to say that this Aaron Judge thing the other night, back here on the Rich Eisen Show radio network, sitting at the Rich Eisen Show desk furnished by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by, as Michael K. did and did me the favor of calling in just now here on the Rich Eisen Show. Michael, are we making a big deal out of nothing? I mean, Chris Brockman's over here in the corner, and he's just ready to roast you because he's a Sox fan. But I'm just curious about the Judge of it all. Obviously, number one, when did you know something was brewing the other night?
Absolutely not at all during the game, Suzy, because if you remember, Boone got thrown out earlier in the at-bat. So we are actually showing the shot from high center field. There's no way you're going to see eyes darting. We were not even on that radar. It wasn't on our radar. I don't know if the Toronto broadcast had been tipped off that maybe he looks down at the first base coach. Could be, not sure. But they were zeroing in on his eyes. It looked like an Eyes Wide Shut movie. And it was weird. And I didn't find out about it till I got back to the hotel in Toronto. I was just scrolling through social media, and I saw that it became a big thing. Now, I don't think it's a big thing at all because let's say that the first base coach picked up a tell that the pitcher Jackson was giving on certain pitches. He has every right to try to relay that to Aaron Judge. And if Aaron Judge has the mental dexterity and mental acuity to, in the middle of an at-bat right before the pitch is being delivered, to check and just dart his eyes toward the first base coach, good on him. That's not cheating. As long as there's not electronics involved, that's good old gamesmanship, and they've been doing that for 130 years. So I just think that Judge is kind of upset about it because he has a pristine reputation. He had 62 home runs. Nobody ever insinuated that anything was untoward last year. And to even have it out there that he might have done something wrong, I think bothers him because he didn't do anything wrong, and Major League Baseball said he didn't do anything wrong.
I think that's exactly it. Isn't that part of the game? There's been so many people jumping on the bandwagon, Michael, and saying, just trying to break this down, trying to accuse him of something, where it seems to me that getting a sign is part of baseball. It's as old as baseball itself. And if he can manipulate that ball, and it seems to me like he can hit anything anyway, I mean, I don't really understand actually what the big deal is.
Well, I think the thing that makes it laughable, let's say that the first base coach, Travis Chapman, found out location, because I don't think you could pick up pitches anymore because of PitchCom. So let's say he found out the location and Alejandro Kirk was setting up low and away, which he was. It was a hanging slider right over the plate. So knowing the location of that pitch didn't help Judge at all. I think it became a big thing, Suzy, because the ball was then hit 462 feet. So people were trying to put 2 and 2 together and make it 5. Again, if you say I'm in your house every day, I'm not a Yankee homer. I try to call the games down the middle. He didn't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with stealing signs with your eyes and passing them along by giving signs with your hands or where you place your leg if your foot is facing forward. That's been done forever. If anybody could prove that anything was gotten from electronic means, then that's cheating. I mean, there are clear rules about that. This, I think, was old-fashioned hardball.
And sorry, Chris Brockman's over here, and I see the look on your face. I see the look on your face, Chris. Why do you hop in?
Mike, why are you guys cheating so much? And then Herman yesterday, what's going on in that dugout? I'm only kidding.
Well, Herman, that's unfortunate. Obviously, he did something wrong. He had stuff that was so sticky. The umpire said that he'd never seen it before. This is a guy, Chris, that was pretty much targeted after the Minnesota game.
Right.
Where they looked at him twice and actually gave him a warning and didn't throw him out. So he has to know he's on the umpire's radar, and they just did a check when he was coming out of the dugout, and that's on him, man. That's on him. If he is not better at policing himself, then he deserves to get suspended, and he deserved to get thrown out. And he made that a very costly win for the Yankees because it ended up getting Ian Hamilton hurt. They ended up using the entire bullpen, and it might impact how they do in the next couple of games. That was not great for Domingo Germán.
Also, back to Judge, shout out to the director on Yes last night for getting as close as you possibly could get on Aaron Judge's eyes during his first at-bat, and then he proceeded to hit it 500 yards.
On that shot.
It was incredible. It was great camera work. And then Judge proceeds to spit on it 500 feet. Yeah, it was impressive.
Well, the home run yesterday, I mean, that was a major flex by Judge.
Yeah.
If you noticed, his eyes never left the pitcher.
Right.
This guy doesn't need any help. He and Shohei Ohtani, I believe, are the two best players in baseball. So I think that's what annoyed him the most is that any aspersions were cast. And I got to tell you guys something. There's another narrative out there that the Blue Jay broadcaster did something wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. They had a shot where the MVP of the league, his eyes were darting away from the pitcher. Of course you're going to bring it up. And Judge is mad at them for some reason. And I guess I understand because it started this narrative about him. But Dan Shulman is one of the best in the world at what he does. I don't think they did anything wrong. They just showed what the camera, zeroed in on, and they talked about it. But they didn't say he's cheating. They just said, I wonder what he's looking at.
Yeah, and that was Rich's point yesterday when we were talking about it, is that, suddenly this gets brought up, and now this cloud begins to kind of move in, not hang, but move in over Judge's record-breaking season last year, which is obviously unfair.
Totally unfair, and this guy's a good dude. Now, one of the defenses I heard yesterday, he's such a great guy, he would never, ever do anything wrong. Now, I think he's a great guy, and I doubt he'd do something wrong, but that's not a defense that you could use in court because one of the best people I've ever met in all my years in sports is Andy Pettitte, the best. If my son grows up to be like Andy Pettitte, I'd be very happy. And he used PEDs. So being a good guy doesn't mean that you didn't do anything wrong. But I think in this case, I take away the fact that Judge is a great guy, really, really a top-flight human being. He didn't do anything wrong. He really didn't.
Michael Kay joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show. Suzy Shuster in for Rich Eisen. Since Rich is out for the day, I'll ask this just for fun. I can't imagine why Artie Moreno would let Shohei Ohtani go. I can't imagine why you would let one of the greatest players of all time go to New York. But God, Rich would be so excited to see Judge and Ohtani playing together. Michael, can you imagine what that would be like for you calling those games all the time? Because you spent time with Ohtani, and Judge being who he is. I mean, I can't ask you to look into the crystal ball like the old stereotype or the cliche of can you imagine that, Michael? But just watching these two players, the possibility of him playing New York is so delicious. I can't even think about it.
It would be unbelievable, and I'm sure that Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, thinks the same thing. I don't think Artie Moreno is going to let him go or trade him. I think it's going to be up to Shohei Ohtani. Does he want to stay in Anaheim and maybe not make the playoffs? I mean, he could look at Mike Trout and go, do I want to do that? and Mike Trout, as great as he is, one of the greatest ever, has played in 3 playoff games in his career. I think that Moreno will give Ohtani anything that he wants because they make a lot of money off him off the field as well. But it'll come down to the fact, does Ohtani want to leave? Does he want to go to a situation where he knows he's going to contend every year? And does he want to go to the East Coast when it comes to the Yankees and the Mets? Because the Yankees were really in on him when he was coming over from Japan, but he wanted no part of the East Coast. Has that changed? If it's changed, even if it hasn't changed, Suzy, it'd be very wise for him to say it's changed because you don't want to eliminate the Yankees and Steve Cohen from driving up the bidding. But, Judge and Ohtani, that would be theater. That would be Broadway for sure.
By the way, shout out to Aaron Boone for his fantastic gum toss the other night. By the way, vintage Boone.
Great spin rate.
That was fantastic. It reminded me of the old days, I have to say. I got a kick out of that. And by the way, when you see that Boone will argue over one thing one night and not argue the next night, I mean, that's when you kind of know that Booney tips his own when it comes to how he feels about a player's performance, huh? Whether it's a gum toss or not.
Well, I think he was really angry because I think there was a stat that we had yesterday. We never got to use it because the game was so crazy. Since he came into the big leagues, Aaron Judge has had 435 strikes called on balls that were out of the strike zone on the low end. And the next closest in that time had 280. So I don't think the umpires have really adjusted to the fact that he's 6'7", and they don't call that low pitch the right way on him. And I know it's always burned Boone a lot, and he ended up getting tossed. And when he's really angry, he does go and get rid of the gum. So I think the whole Yankee organization is saying, why can't you call that low pitch right on this guy? It should be at the hollow of the knee, and they're calling it around the shin, which is a tough pitch for him to hit.
Michael, say hi to Booney for me, will you please? And also to John Sterling, because God knows we love him so much. I love the old days. I think back on hanging out with you and John when you were just doing radio. And that was such a fun way to get to know you back in the day. And
you want to feel really old, Suzy?
Yeah. How old? I already feel old, but how old?
Well, John Sterling's not on this trip because last weekend, 2 of his triplets graduated college, and this Sunday, the other one is graduating college. So it's pretty amazing.
I just love him. And again, because Cooper is such a total Yankees homer to go with his dad, always, it is high, it is far. And when Cooper hit a grand slam last week, humble brag, of course. I just kind of wish that I had John Sterling in the background calling it for me. Michael, I miss seeing you. Thanks for calling in last minute. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Suzy. Tell Cooper hello and Rich as well.
Oh, I sure will. Michael K. from the Yes Network. Thanks so much, Michael.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.